Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Lyric Explorer. Today with us, we have a good friend of mine, Oliver Howe. What can I say? He's the master of shapes. I keep saying that I don't expect to get surprised with different methods, and all this method was another one that surprised me by how organic it is. Like, you start with a very rough structure, and then you add on top, and then you add on top, and then suddenly poof, it just drops like splashes of paint on top of it, and then it works with the paint, and then adds more, and then when you think you've got somewhere, he adds another thing. But okay, I won't spoil anymore. I've known Ollie since we worked together. It was my first job, and I think it was Ollie's first job too in 2018 in Manchester. So it was a pleasure to go full circle and see what's been up to lately and how much has this method evolved since. But yeah, this is it. Enjoy. Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Layer Explorer, where I get to invite all of my favorite artists and look at them while they show me their little tricks and the little, like, everything that is in between their layers, and we get to look through their Photoshop files. I feel like I've always been like quite nerdy into like looking at the Photoshop files of my artists, and they would share everything about their paint. They would have like amazing interviews talking about their process, but I'm like, okay, like the interview is amazing, but can I just look at the layers and at the blending modes? And like, I created this thing on purpose too. Okay, I'll do that myself. And today with us, we have a good friend of mine, Ollie Howe. I think
Hello.
On the previous episodes, I think the last one I recorded was a Diogo, actually, and I told the story of like how I met Diogo. And on my left side was Diogo, and on my right side was Ollie in my first job. So that's how we met. Tell us about yourself. How do you want to present yourself?
I've been in animation. So yeah, we met on both of our like first sort of like industry contract work. I've been in the industry now for about 7 years. Very sort of, it's contract work, so some gaps here and there, whatever. But a mixture of like background painting, layouts, and also some 2D design for CG. So like a real mixed bag and a mix of projects as well. So I've worked on more like TV shows, like TV productions, like series. And then I've also worked on some like shorter, more sort of like short film-esque projects, which has been fun.
I think that like I presented Diogo as like the master of perspective, because I think he really likes to do a mathematical thing. And like Ollie is probably on the master of like shape language, and he draws like one shape, and then he draws another one, and then the third shape I already feel something. I already feel something about this composition, and you share a lot of like your kind of shape explorations online and stuff like that, and it's like sharp. I had Val, and she was like the brush stroke version of your shapes. She does like 7 brush strokes, and I'm already like, it's done.
Yeah,
like the painting is
beautiful. I know, it's so good, so good.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to give us a bit of context about what we are looking at? What's this project about?
Sure. Yeah. So this is a sort of trying to break a bit more back into my 2D design sort of viz dev work was from a long time ago. I think when we were like 2020, I guess. So like this project I've started is kind of just try and like breathe some fresh life into it. I got a lot of like background painting stuff. So a lot of this is just trying to like, try and flex the sort of design muscles. And I had a sort of story in the back of my mind that I was like toying with, and I sort of been slowly sort of like exploring and developing.
Can you reveal a little bit of the story, or is it like?
Yeah, no, of
secret?
course. Like it's like no, yeah. So it's basically the general gist is a very sort of sci-fi dystopian world/city. It's all the classics will be checked off here. It's nice. Sci-fi dystopian. There's like, it's kind of ruled by corporations. It's kind of like the sort of worst outcome of like society, basically. And in this sort of world, there's like no plant life, there's no trees, there's no nature, except for this one center sort of pyramid slash abstract, slash object that's in the center of the city, which is like this garden, kind of Garden of Eden-esque. But that is like ruled by or controlled by the rich, basically. And so the general story is it's about these kids slash adults, to be defined, but like there's a group of them who live in this city, explore it, scavenge through it. And one day they sort of stumble across because this is all new world, they stumble across like a sign of the old world, which is they find this, and I still don't know, but they find like a dryad or nature spirit or something that is like a thing from when there were trees and there was like lush forest on this world. And the general sort of goal or general kind of plot is these kids or people are going to try and get the dryad to the Garden of Eden, because with her sort of magic or his kind of magic or their kind of magic, like they will unleash these plants and sort of fully like take over the world with like plant life.
Nice.
Completely destroying all like the factories and all the sort of technology. So it's like a full reset of Earth in a way. And that's like the general story.
If I had to guess, I would say like you are a world builder type of guy. Like you have this story, but like, okay, I have this story, but I'm also really excited to like explore the world and I want to know the different areas in this
100%.
planet. Yeah. I was like, I've seen like your posts and the different locations and stuff like that. You're like, okay,
yeah,
like you definitely are very excited to like, you have this world, you have this story that is going to go through this world, but you also want to know the world and like explore. Like
100%. And I think for me, that's kind of like part of the enjoyment of it is like, yeah, kind of figuring out how it takes, how it works. I still hadn't done it, but I want to do like a map of the city.
Nice.
It's very factory focused. It's very sort of industrial, very sort of like, very industrial. And then cutting through it as like these deep trenches, which I'm not sure exactly what their purpose will be, but like these deep trenches that cut through, but they hold lots of like pipes and like kind of the inner workings of the city.
Nice.
And like the further you get down in the city, you will get like more sort of the old world influencing the architecture. So you'll see like old ruins of like maybe what the city used to be, old sort of like maybe an old statue, which you just wouldn't see up top because up top is like all very factory, industry first focused. And
very
I think
exciting.
if you can see the screen now, like that is kind of, this was like the first sort of image exploring that.
So this would be what we see now. I guess we can still see the sunlight, or I would guess it's the sunlight is somewhere in between like the lower fields and the upper top of the factories. This what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is the sort of like first old image done for it. And it's kind of like really basic, you know, like I don't even know who the characters are, but some of the pipes are here. And I imagine like it's a lot of the sort of like first act of this film, I guess, would be like them walking through all these like lots of pipes hissing, lots of like noises, and then sort of like, exploring like the tunnels of this world. And I guess that is this like initial images, like vibe.
Very nice.
And then like as a counter to that, if I go to like this would be more third act, second into third act, but it's kind of like an idea of like, okay, what is it like above, like, on the top side? And this pyramid is kind of what I imagined would be that central garden. I think
so it's not
it's
on
going to
the
be
soil.
like way bigger. No.
I see.
It's like an elevated thing. This is the vibe of like when they're up there, it's sort of like all of these sort of like chimneys spewing smoke. The city sort of is down below, and the central part is this more richer kind of like hub with this sort of central garden. And like this sort of, like I also have the idea of like a train, sort of like, you know, a classic sort of rich person only train.
Yeah.
That sort of was also above the city, but would direct all the sort of rich people to the central garden for them to like enjoy it and view it and experience it. And
this is what I mean about the shape language. It's like I have like I don't know, 5 rectangles here, and I'm already excited to explore this world. You know, this is what I mean about like
I do, man.
I'm sure we'll see this if you show other references. It's gonna become more and more clear. It's like you summarize it to its least amount of detail without losing this. I think it's like Rebecca Sugar. She talks about this sense of sublime, where it's like you look at something, but you know there's more out there, and you're kind of excited to explore this thing that you don't see. And I'm like, I look at this painting, and I'm already like, okay, first of all, the foreground characters are very small, so it gives me like a really nice scale. And then I see that really cool triangle. I have no idea what it is. Like I know now because you told me, but I'm like, I'm fucking excited to explore this. You know, like it looks so nice. Man. Like it's master of shape. I said it first here, like, and it's just put me right.
I appreciate it, man. And I think as I have sort of like, obviously art is like a journey, and you're kind of figuring out like what you enjoy and like everything else about it. Like I really do enjoy shapes. I think that's kind of like for me, what I enjoy playing with, the more like abstract side. And it was kind of solidified. I was lucky enough to like work alongside Patricio Vecchio. I hope I'm not butchering the last name, but he's like wonderful artist, really cool. But his whole thing is like he loves shapes, and he loves playing with shapes. And I was like, that is what I really enjoy.
Super nice. Super nice. Love it. Okay, should we get to the layers? I want to see the layers of these shapes.
Yeah.
This is our first. Tell us about the process. How do you start this?
Yeah. So I'll show you the thumbnail. This is like the first sort of like painting that I've done for the project. And this was the general, like, okay, there's definitely a part of this missing in the sense of like I sketch a lot in my like sketchbook. So I try and like mess around, just pen, and normally like super small, really, really small. Just messing around with like ideas and like general sort of like just trying to figure stuff out of like story, rough compositions. None of my sketching compositions are final because normally like I find when I get into Photoshop, I may kind of like warp into something different anyway. So it's more just like a general, the idea generation is done in the sketchbook. So imagine like, you know, an hour, couple hours sketching beforehand, sort of maybe like a bit of writing, a bit of like figuring out some Pinterest boards. And eventually it gets to a point where like I have a final sketch, or not a final sketch, but I would have some kind of sketch that I would like chuck into Photoshop. And it would be really rough, just like, it would be very sort of, the foreground, like all these elements would be here, but like
very thumbnail-y.
Very thumbnail-y. And I picked this up from Zach Retz's class. He always starts painting with establishing the sort of core 5 values.
Oh, okay.
As the sort of the main structure of the painting. Because then like most of the time, if you can like maintain these sort of values, you can obviously push them and pull them like further down the line. But like as long as you have them, like you know there's like clear contrast.
So
and, like,
each one of these values are one layer.
Yeah. So if I break it up,
wow,
get rid of these guys. Imagine if there was like a sketch underneath.
Yeah.
And I'm slowly sort of just like using like a big blocky brush. I'm sort of just kind of just piecing it together.
So
and just
nice.
Like figuring out kind of like a vibe.
Yeah.
And it changes like down the line, but this is kind of what I was left with. Normally, I think I would have started with this one first.
Yeah.
And then I would have like messed around with like these other bits and then be like, okay, the background, like what's the vibe there? And then slowly basically just building. And like, it doesn't have to, like, it's so broken up now, but like, I could, if I wanted to, really crush them together. But the main thing is just like, this is my reference point. For instance, if I'm looking at a painting and I'm like, oh, damn, like something's wrong, things are getting lost, nothing's popping. If I refer to this initial sketch, and I'll always have it at the side as well when I'm like painting as like reference.
Ah, okay.
If I refer to it, I'm like, oh, okay, the bridge that the characters are standing on is sort of getting lost.
Right.
I need to like darken it.
Okay.
That kind of thing. And
Super
also
cool.
you'll see it more in the next step, but I use this as a base to like paint in. So like I will like lay a mask or like select shapes, like I'll select like this big shape and then like paint into it. So I still maintain the general like shapes, but like I'll start adding color and like build up color for that.
Very nice.
And then I also just have like classic, just a really simple perspective sort of lines, just classic 1 point perspective.
Yeah.
They're really rough, really dirty, because I know the painting is going to be pretty like abstract, so it's doesn't have to be too exact.
It's kind of a nice touch because you could have just done the shape with a star, which should have been like exact, but the fact that you do it more roughly means that perspective, it makes sense, but it's not 100% accurate, which adds a little bit of like a certain organic feel to it, even though it's very rigid lines. It's very nice, actually. I never thought about that. So when I turned on the call and Ollie started sharing his screen on his kind of like, we did a couple of technical passes.
Yeah.
I only saw this thumbnail. I haven't seen the final painting. I've seen like a couple of final paintings in his Instagram, but I haven't seen this one. So I thought we were going to be talking about just the shapes, the black and white. And then he turned on the final color and I was like, whoa, okay, this is so much more than I thought I was going to get like straight away. Like, because I see a lot more of your shape explorations than I see of the final design. So I was like, okay, maybe we're going to do different like the different ones of these like layouts and shapes. But when you guys see the final painting, it's going to fucking blow your mind.
Yeah. Super kind. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Because I still find painting like, man, getting into color and stuff is like such a journey still. It's like so much to figure out. But I do like breaking down the values first because I find helps me focus more on the colors because I don't really have to focus too much on the values. Because I find my big thing with painting is like what I realized is like I get overwhelmed like super easy. So if there's too many things to figure out, or if I'm looking at a painting and I'm like trying to think of like rendering, like materials, values, lighting, color, like I just get like I freeze up and I'm like, okay, this painting's never getting finished because I just don't know where to start. So I'm trying to get a bit better at like just breaking it down really clearly. Like this is why this is like so. Okay, it's so blocky, it's so chunky, but like for me, I can like understand it, and I'm like, okay, cool.
I'm excited for the color reveal.
Yeah, so it's chaos. Like it's going to start really chaotic. So,
so nice. Good.
This is you can see it's like the same. It's all the same like shapes and values. And I just blocked in like some colors. With some little variation just from like a brush. And it's just me just figuring out like, okay, this is like a toxic city. You know, I've like cropped this PSD down so it's just a bit lighter, but normally around the edges, like I'll have like references. Images.
So how did you arrive to these colors? Like, is this specific green you kind of tested out with greens, or like, no, there's this green that I like from this painting and I'm going to bring it in, I'm going to test it?
Yeah, I had reference images of polluted, like heavily polluted cities, either from like artists that have already painted something, or I had from just like real life examples of like cities with a high pollution rate.
Yeah.
And it normally sort of ends up a bit yellowy, a bit sort of like orangey, quite atmospheric. And I was thinking of like Toxius-esque colors. And so greens and yellows were kind of like in my head.
Yeah.
And then I had, a classic kind of like a warmer sort of light. And then I wanted the more cool sort of like shadows. And I think, so I've got like some texture brushes going on where I'm just like, I'm just messing around a lot.
Right.
And a lot of this is just like, I'm adding a bit of atmosphere. I'm adding some like, using a texture brush to add some sort of like color variation.
Yeah.
And then like, I've got a hue and saturation here, which I don't know what we'll do. Okay, we'll darken it. So obviously I wasn't super happy with like how bright it was. I think I wanted it to be a bit more like smoggy, I guess is what I was going for.
Mm-hmm. It's like the fact that in these foreground elements, we just see like almost like blocks of color and like, they look almost like a cube brush that just drew them. But then you have really nice color variations. They are subtle, but they do add a sense of like depth and texture. Is this all in one layer, or do you have like the purples layer and the darker greens layer?
No, all in one.
Damn.
All in one. And I think it's like, I think Zach Rett's,
so cool.
It's like a Zach Rett's brush, which adds like color variation as you like use it. So for instance,
cool.
I would like drag it along and you'd get all these different squares of color that they like add so much to like, it just adds so much like fun variety to it, but it still maintains the general value. Like going back to that like base value structure.
Yeah.
It's still there. Like it's still not lost. And the same as like when I darkened that background, even though it's like a shift, like it's fine. It's still, the values, like it's still split up for me. I can still reads. And also, I have my little image, but I can always just keep looking back to it and be like, okay, I need to tweak it, or it's getting lost. I wonder why the background is now like too dark, for instance. And so it's foreground, same vibe. It's sort of like so basically I have all my like base shape still, and I'm just slowly like adding to them and like painting into them. So like, obviously I wanted something a bit darker, adding some more variety because like these were a bit too bold. So I'm just trying to get them to blend into like a mid-ground sort of like color.
Right.
Getting them like, making them get a bit lost because I really wanted that sort of like, the big thing is like I wanted that smogginess to come through. And that sort of like atmosphere to be like quite heavy.
Very nice.
And then either trying to make, so there I noticed like these pipes were getting a bit lost. So like I darkened them a bit, added some sort of like atmosphere to like the, just, the stairs getting lost and stuff. So it's just like a lot of tweaking. Like it's just sort of like I'm messing around with color, but I'm also messing around with value. And more yellow, go back to green.
Whoa.
God knows what happened here.
Yeah.
So this is just like a gradient map that I put over. But like I obviously like this for some reason. But it's going to change massively again soon. But like I obviously enjoyed the more like yellowy toxic vibe.
Right.
And so this is why this is a bit of a chaotic sort of process. Like I mentioned to you, it's like a bit wild. So it gets to basically the initial part was all done where I'm sort of like painting into these layers.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets to a point where I now just start adding a layer on top, painting, adding a layer on top, painting, adding a layer on top, painting, and just like maintaining the base.
I see. Okay.
And I will use like layer masks if I want to do specific things. So for instance, like added some more values. Here, like I painted back into the foreground, just using like a layer mask, but it's all just like a layer above, a layer above, a layer above. And I'm just using this as like a base. And like I keep all the layers. So like I can go back and be like, I could be just like turn off this and be like, oh, see, that's kind of fun. Like the little pops of red. And so then maybe I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, maybe I'll mess around with that. So then I'll like turn that layer off and like paint into it. But then like if I'm like not feeling it, I can just turn it back on and be like, okay, let's mess around with it. So it's very sort of back and forth, but if I'm ever painting on top or creating something new, it's like a new full layer above.
Wow.
Basically.
What a twist. I did not see that coming. I thought you would work on the adjustment layers and okay, now I'm going to redefine the pipes and I'm going to add more texture to the layer with this one. So we're looking at these brush strokes on top of this painting with this filter.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like I'm narratively curious. Like I have no idea where this is going to go.
Yeah,
this is
and
crazy.
It's a lot of like, so basically it's just a lot of like tweaking and pushing and experimentation and just like kind of feeling it out. So it's really just like at the moment as well, like I would have some music in and just sort of like kind of music that's kind of associated with this vibe. So like, I think I was listening to a lot of like, I was listening to a lot of like Cthulhu, dystopian, D&D horror music.
No Final Fantasy 7. I've been listening to Final Fantasy 7 soundtrack too.
Weirdly enough, no.
And that was a good one. That would be a good one.
That was solid.
Not the whole soundtrack is related to Midgard, but like that Midgard section, like would inform that.
Good. Yeah, good. And so like as it goes, okay, like obviously I was like the pipes are getting lost. Let's bring them back.
Nice. And this is like you go back to the original shape, you just select it and you draw inside of the selection.
Yeah,
like
literally as I'm going, I'll like scroll back down, select this, scroll back up, sort of just get rid of like the initial bit.
Yeah.
And then just darken the pipes. So it's sort of like, that's why it's quite nice having that initial value structure, because I can just like use it as my like foundation.
Right.
It's like the foundation of my house. It needs to be solid.
Yeah.
And then I can just keep referring back to it and like build on top of it.
So cool. So cool. Okay,
Some more
question.
tweaking.
I have a question. You were saying that you were listening to music related to this. Are you like an audio only kind of guy, or do you also watch videos on the side? Because I'm like, I'll say 70% videos, 30% audio if I'm painting.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, no, for me, it would be 100% audio.
Wow, okay.
Depending on the sort of like painting. Because I think with this, I need to do so much like figuring out and like problem solving. Like I can't watch videos.
I think Kat, she was in the 4th episode. No, I think she was in the 5th episode, is the only person that I know that she's complete silence. She cannot listen to any music. Watch any videos. She's just for hours, just like in silence painting. I respect that grind. I'm like, it's not for me. Like I would get distracted so much. If I'm in silence, I would drop 5 minutes and I'll like get up to go to the kitchen or
that's super like inspiration. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like if I've ever painted anything in just pure silence. Maybe like once, but I feel like I need the music just to like start the painting. Like I feel like I put in my music, play, and I'm like, I'm going.
Yeah, same.
Whereas, like I think if I were, that's so funny. I want to try it actually. I want to see the vibe of like what it's like. Just like
it's like going to a flight without a downloaded like album or like without a series to watch. It's like you just fucking 7-hour flight. Fuck it, I'm just gonna like sit still and like I can.
I'd give it a try for sure. But yeah, music is a big part.
Okay.
Big fan of music. So then just carrying on, like I added some sort of like some more shadows, just trying to like define things. It's like before it was all just sort of like this random color, but now I'm kind of like defining some shapes.
Light source.
Some light source. Yeah, exactly. Just sort of like establishing some stuff, adding like a surface to the little bridge.
Very nice.
Okay, crazy. So big dark. Because I think actually this is what I was finding out with previous paintings when I did this method.
Yeah.
Everything would be a bit too separated. And so like now with this one, I was trying to focus a bit more on like lost shadows and lost edges and stuff. So I think this is probably what this was. Like I'm trying to get the pipes to like pop, but like also like I don't mind them getting like lost in the shadows.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to focus on that a bit more. Yeah, so like here, like I don't mind, like I'm painting over the pipes, just in the case of just like I want them to be here, that they're not the focal point, but like hopefully this will like.
Yeah, those little shapes you add, just like I remember you adding them before, and I'm like, I want to see how you make them work, and now I can't even see the ones you added before. You just blend them so nicely, it just becomes like texture. Yeah. So cool.
And I think that's what's kind of fun. It's like you just keep layering until you kind of like, because obviously final painting is so much different to this, but it's kind of fun that like it's fun going back to it and just seeing like if you keep layering, like where it sort of like kind of goes.
Yeah.
And then some more color tweaks, just messing. Like here, it's getting a bit more closer to the original sort of like value structure. But now it's kind of fun because this sort of like shadowy area is a bit.
And I love how slowly we just are so far away from those greens. Like that very like green early stage. Like I don't even remember what it looked like now. We're just full on in this kind of like toxic yellow, uncomfortable. Yeah. Like it's not really maybe it's sunlight, but it's filtered through all of this like smoke. Yeah, and so cool, honestly.
And it's like a wild, it's like a wild origin story. Like it's like, who even was what even was green painting?
Yeah.
But I think it informs because I think when we keep going, like I think it sneaks back in. Oh. So it's kind of interesting, like the starting point, and then like it kind of just goes down these little like rabbit holes until you're like. Actually, I kind of like that green or that aspect of the green. Here, I'm just adding shapes, some like little lighting things. Again, sort of like trying to lose some edges in the background a bit because it was getting a bit too like, it was a bit too edgy. So I'm just trying to lose some edges, but then also add some like fun little pops of like underpainting color.
Yeah.
You know, like with the old masters, they would like paint in like, or they had a red sort of undercoat.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like replicate that a bit by like adding this in, just like some little pops of color. So then when I keep painting over these, this will be lost, but like
you have like
little
peaks.
These little like red. Yeah, they're like a peak.
Yeah.
They'll peek through.
So cool.
Just darkening. Like here we're like I'm painting and just like establishing some sort of like structure now.
And this is what I mean by like those tiny shapes, the dark shapes that you added with like they were popping out a lot. But now because of these new layers, now they are blending so well, like on the right side of the painting. They are just now just feel like texture. They just feel like a small variation of the final thing.
100%.
So cool.
And that's what I'm like really trying to like strive for is like, just having it like peek through. These 3 holes here, long lost. I think that was like an idea I had, but like once I started painting, I was like, I think they were a bit too distracting, maybe.
Right.
And I just kept sort of like, really popped that kind of like pushed the atmosphere a bit with the furthest pipe.
Yeah.
Again, pushing atmosphere, painting on top, adding little squares. It's like really, I'm just sort of just like moving about the whole painting and being like, okay, this area is like a bit too light. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Let's just try and lead that eye a bit closer to the sort of focal point.
Yeah.
And I quite like all these, like, I think as well, again, with a previous like addition, this fun line. I didn't plan this line, but it just appeared. And then I was like, okay, I'm kind of like staying in those sort of like parallel. Like I think it's kind of a fun. No, it's just like a fun idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of leads my eye over to like the focal point again. And then, shifting some colors. Yeah, okay, so maybe this is going to get a bit funky. So I got to a point and I wasn't happy with like this, I don't think. I think the general shapes are like still there. I'm like pushing stuff, pulling stuff. But I think I must have just been like, I don't like the colors or I wasn't feeling it. And so like here, again, still with that same sort of like underlying, I'm just playing. I'm just like tweaking. Okay, so this is the first one where I'm like, okay, it feels a bit better. Because it goes back to that original piece of...
With the greens.
Yeah, the greens and the cool foregrounds and the warmer background. And I'm like, okay,
so
that's what was
cool.
missing.
Like the palette just became so much more like complex with these like
Yeah.
purplish foreground and then green and then reds and then yellows. Damn.
Yeah. It was all a bit too warm. So now I have like this interesting, like these cooler shadows, these like blues are coming through, the grays. And then again, it's just like, liking this idea, I was like, okay, let me paint into it a bit, sort of define some shapes, getting rid of the reds a bit, like they're obviously a bit too distracting. Okay, I don't know what happened to it.
That was just another test for another adjustment layer.
Another test for another day. But like, I guess I just had to push it more, which is interesting because going back, like, I think it's interesting going back through the layers. Like, I feel at this point here, it would be interesting to see, like, I think I could have gone another parallel route and taken it somewhere else. Because this is interesting. Looking back at this now, I'm like, this is not, I think if I was painting this now and just going through it, I would have been like, I don't like that. Let me mess around with something else. So it's kind of interesting and that's stuck. But this is why I'm like, in this process, I'm trying not to like overthink. Like I'm literally just doing something. Obviously, there's a part of me in this moment where I was like, this is kind of interesting. So it's playing with it. Maybe I think, one
it looks
part
amazing.
that's kind
like
of
it's
interesting.
Not that it looks before it looks amazing, after it looks amazing. So like the you from the past was making some right calls.
Thank you, man. But I think what I probably liked is this feels a lot more smoggy and a bit more like ominous than this. This feels a bit more like, oh, this is an interesting city. I want to like it's like a bit more fun.
I see.
Whereas this feels heavy. Like it feels like I'm coming from the darkness into like, God, I don't even know. This horrible kind of world. And I think that's probably what I stuck with. I probably liked the mood of it. And I was like, okay, maybe let's just see where it takes.
Yeah.
Where I can take it.
Yeah, almost feels like one is a little bit more like RPG. This one is a bit more horror.
Yeah. And then, so I think I like this vibe. And I think it's now sort of, it's a bit more painty, where I'm just like adding some atmosphere, refining some shapes, adding a foreground element.
Yeah, going back to the OG shape. That was a foreground pipe there.
Yeah, adding it back in, which I was like, oh yeah, but it needed that. Losing some more edges. And it's just like this whole little section here is just refining.
Yeah.
I didn't like, I guess, just this big block at the back. So I added some sort of like streams of like light. Maybe it's like the bigger buildings or something.
Yeah. I love how like we started with like maybe in the original shape, we had like a very clear foreground, midground and background, maybe like 3 levels of background. And every time you add a shading, you add another level to the background. So now I really feel like, even though it's just shapes, like it feels like a very vast background. Like it goes into forever. Like this city goes into the horizon. But even though I don't even see the horizon here, you know, like it's just like the way you imply depth by just like, oh, I just added this little rectangle of yellow. But that already makes it like a lit spot in between 2 buildings, you know? So cool.
100%. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that's kind of the vibe I wanted. I wanted to like, I also like this idea of like, if you're in this city, you just don't see beyond it. Like you are like fully engulfed by it. And so, like here, it's like now establishing some sort of like a bit more of the lighting that I added previously. Like I obviously liked this and I was like, okay, so lighting is coming through from somewhere. Let's highlight some of these like structures to make them like, to a bit more sort of like, just to indicate that the light's coming through. And again, just like refining light.
Whoa.
Pushing back the values because it was like getting a bit too like defined. So I'm just trying to like push all that back. So then like if I had my characters here,
they stand out. Yeah.
They would pop.
That's so cool. It's like so many times I feel like we are almost finished rendering this and like, another block of color on top. We're like, no, we're starting this this rendering again. And then I'm like, I get it now. I get why you did that. But like, I felt like we're so close to finishing this background. And like, like this soft like graded on top.
And that's why it's such like a weird little like journey. And then it's like adding some more light, some little like detailing. Like it's just defining that this is like, okay, this is some kind of like walkway.
Yeah.
Refining some colors. Okay, and then like a big color tweak at the end, because obviously I wasn't happy with this, even though the general vibe was there, but then I tweaked it and I liked this. Like then now we're going back to like
the OG greens.
This is like a mix of the two. It's the OG greens and the OG sort of yellow. Like they both were like, I both liked them at some point, but like I had to go off a path and like explore to like come back to them.
So cool.
And then what I will do is I will normally be like, okay, cool, I'm happy at this point. Most of the like big decision making is made. Like I'm happy with the color, the vibe is there, and I will like merge it into like one layer, and then create a new folder. Or because my computer is like a bit slow, like I'll make a whole separate Photoshop file.
Yeah.
And this will be okay. So then now this is the merged layer. So now I just have this base. Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. This is the base of it. I'm now just going to paint on top. And again, the process basically repeats itself, but with like slightly less big shifting. Yeah. So
this is more like a rendering stage. You could possibly watch 100%. A video in this stage. Or
potentially.
Potentially.
Potentially a video could go on.
Okay.
But I think things still change.
Okay.
But so I'm still on the music. I'm still on the dystopian horror soundtrack. And it's now just like, I just keep painting. Like this was fun. Like this was a random little addition.
Oh.
And I was like, I think I just didn't like the shape. Like I think it was just too blocky. So I had to like shake it up, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And also when I merge this down, I will like break away from the original composition more as well.
Okay.
Like I've used it as a base. I've used it as an initial structure to like lay things out. But like now I'll be more willing to like go away from that and like, again, follow that intuitive kind of path, but instead of just with color, with like the composition as well.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these like little additions, which are just like, it's just like the lasso tool going over the top, like a little detailing to the pipe. So it looks a bit more like interesting. Some more shapes.
Very nice.
I added this one because I think I just like how the lines were like kind of like pointing now to the focal point. So it's all like aiding that sort of like, I'm looking here. Finding shapes, detailing.
Yeah, definitely. We're still on this adding shapes, but it's much thinner, much more like specific, breaking up a few silhouettes. Very nice.
And it's sort of just defining what the city is a bit. Like I added some sort of like towers, which were interesting. Like the towers were not in the initial idea at all. Like I imagined like a really blocky, very sort of like, you know, Blade Runner-esque city, like quite squarey, dystopian. And then again, merge down its painting, liking where it's at. Oh, or not.
What more?
Oh my God, what is this?
This is like the Layer Explorer with the most plot twists so far.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is just more of the... Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like, I don't even know. I'm like, did I even paint this? I could be gaslighting you. I could be like, oh, yeah, I painted this yesterday. But I'm actually just lying.
So is this like... So you just duplicated that folder to experiment something because we still have the triangles here? I
must have, yeah.
Okay.
But it's the same as the previous one. It's just like... It's just with more of the layers.
Oh, there's a little... Okay. Yeah.
Still just continuing on as I just like add things.
Yeah, just like the confidence on that top triangle, you know, like now we are in like small rendering stuff phase, and then like poof, you just drop a triangle there. That's such a nice highlight, and it points almost at the focal point, but it doesn't feel too conveniently pointing at the focal point. It's just that confidence.
Thanks,
like that boldness on those shapes. It's what I say is a master of shapes right here.
Thank you, man. But I think, it's just, I think when I'm turning off my brain and just like adding, it just like I added a triangle. I didn't overthink it. I liked the look of it, and I was like, okay, it stays. And the thing is, what I like about this is because I'm just adding on top, I can paint that out. You know, it can like it, or it will just be lost in the painting as I like paint over it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I like the boldness, I keep it. If I don't, then I know it will just be like swallowed by like the painting.
Yeah. So cool.
Added some bricks just to try and define like some of what the materials are.
Still have the diagonal there on the bricks. So nice.
Still going there. Yeah. Still going just to add to the composition. Some little detailing added, like little posters on the wall.
Yeah.
And really this stage is like, it's such minute little additions. Like this is some more detailing. But all of this, it's all a new layer. So like, for instance, if I was like, okay, if I don't like the little scraps of paper or posters and I don't like that period, I can just turn it off and then just continue on. So it's very sort of like, I go back and forth. Like it looks like I'm just like painting, but like I would like, for instance, like paint this in, look at it for a bit and be like, something's not right. Okay, let's go back. Oh, that's better. Like call that away.
Yeah.
And then come back. So it is really just me like going back and forth, adding sort of like little more shapes. Like this was kind of interesting. Like I like the triangle, and I thought I'd just build it more into like a square kind of bird.
Yeah. It's just like one shape at a time. This feels super textured now, super detailed. Like the blocks are still there, but like it's like many shapes later. Every single corner is populated with some sort of texture, some sort of like shape variation with like bigger shapes, smaller shapes. So
and I think
cool.
That's why we like. It's interesting. Like it's like I think that's why I like just layering up slowly because you get stuff sort of sneaks through in like surprising ways.
Yeah.
And this is a case of me like changing the composition. Like I felt like it was a bit too just blocky in the center. So I added like just using my sort of like really rough perspective lines.
Yeah.
Just like sort of roughly dropping in something just to like lead the eye.
Yeah. Very nice.
And then, but see another like addition, like it was missing something because I think this was the general focus point because I have the characters here.
Yeah.
And just added this little pipe.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I really like the little pipe. Like it just randomly, it was a really random addition.
Yeah.
As I was adding all these other little squares pointing upwards. But yeah, I just think it frames it a bit better, which is like quite nice.
Yeah.
It was getting way too yellow, so I just pushed it back. And really, like this whole process is just me just like refining. I added some bird, even after I said there was no nature or animals in this city, but maybe they're robot like birds.
A forest of like man-made stuff now at this point. It's like every single point you have like a little branch coming out of a pipe almost. So cool.
Yeah. That's a fun. Yeah, I like that. I really like that description actually.
Yeah, you see, like just the confidence of adding that foreground element is like that line like this and like this with a little. It's just like it would have been in any other case a flat shape, but it just belongs. Like it's so cool. I don't even know if we're gonna keep it at this point. Like if somebody plot twist, you might like, okay, I just added an entire brush stroke. I started the painting again in that corner, but like
it'll be like a whole different painting. Yeah,
like, it's so cool.
And then it's just more refining. Added some fun bottles. when I'm rendering, I'm also now just adding some more like storytelling elements. So like some old bottles were like are here. And I think the more I think about the city, I think like once I did this painting, more of the city like established itself for me. But I imagine like this city is just like a big sort of junkyard of things. Like there's just things everywhere. Yeah, I just imagine like a big sort of like dump.
Yeah.
Where you would find just like a random radiator or a random TV or like, yeah, whatever. And I kind of like that vibe. And then, okay, so I deal with this. And then I have a feeling at this point, I was like, okay, I think the painting's done. I'm going to like sit on it. I think I sent it to my phone and the colors looked crazy. Like,
okay.
It looked like really oversaturated. So I think what I do is like I went back in to just tweak some of the colors.
That's so interesting. So like, you do that test, like you send it to your phone to test it on a different screen? Or is it was just...
yeah, test it on a different screen. And then also like, I'm going to post it to Instagram kind of vibes. And then, but I sent it to my phone. I was like, okay, this looks way off. And so I tweaked some of the colors and I had to like desaturate a lot. And then anyway, I was doing that and I think I saw more things I wanted to like refine and edit. So I kept sort of like going back into it and just like, yeah, adding some contrast, sharpening some edges, pushing things back. And like some of these details would be so small. Like I added a small rat.
Oh my God, what?
He just like came out of nowhere.
Honest, this is like the episode of the most amount of plot twists, like out of nowhere.
We're like all over, isn't it? Chaos.
Yeah.
So I have this like little rat because I was like, okay, so more just like, because it was on this, I was on like the story sort of vibe, like, okay, what's going on here? Rats in the city. Oh yeah, so with this new one as well, like I added this kind of like creature thing in the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Which was like super random. And I think again, it came about because I was listening to horror music. But because this painting was so sort of like exploratory and like journey, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I added to like the world building. I'm like, okay, maybe these things like roam about. Like maybe it is like kind of like War of the Worlds-esque where they're sort of like just lumbering about. But I think no one owns them. I think they're like a bit autonomous.
Okay.
And they just sort of do their thing.
Very nice. As it stands now, it looks like that creature is going after the mouse. We haven't seen any more characters. The mouse is our protagonist here.
That's the next plot.
Yeah.
That's the next plot. He's like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble. This is the main character. This is the antagonist. But yeah, all these changes now are just really small. I added some smoke because I wanted that smog to like, I wanted it to be like the chimneys are going.
Yeah.
And I kept it kind of flat because I thought it just like it looked kind of interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then all of this will just be, just color shifts. I'm just trying to like remove saturation and just sort of like trying to tweak and push. And then it gets to a point where it's like, basically this is the final painting pretty much. Like I got to this point, I was like, okay, it's pretty much done. There's things I would change for sure. Like it's interesting me going back because like the painting could have taken so many different routes. And I did have characters. So I did these two characters.
Yeah.
And have them sort of like the original composition, then sort of like looking over the city as they're exploring it.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting rid of them because I kind of just liked the emptiness of it in the end.
The city, before we see the characters, it was just like getting a feel for the city.
And then then the characters would sort of join.
Yeah.
And so that was the kind of vibe. Like that's why. And then I was like, okay, characters not in it. And yeah, that's the final painting. That's kind of like where it ended up.
Wow.
From this, so whatever this was, to this, then to this.
Wow.
Yeah, so it like jumped a lot.
That was like now you guys get what I meant by like, I was looking at this black and white version and then always just turned on this layer and I I was like, what? Okay. Because I was even like, okay, maybe we're going to do, if it's going to be these kind of black and white thumbnails, we can explore maybe 2-3 paintings. And then like you turned on this one and I was like, okay, wow, no, we're going in for this one. This looks amazing.
Fully dive it in. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, and this like process is slightly new to me. I'm still like refining it a bit more, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of, I'm enjoying it so far. And I think it's interesting what I ended up with.
Yeah.
For sure.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you, man.
Amazing. Wow.
Shit.
Curious about like that red spot. Like all the other red spots, they were kind of engulfed by the painting, but that red spot just below the stairs, it ended up staying, and it just adds a little, like, I don't know how to describe it. It just belongs there. It's so cool.
Yeah. I didn't find it like offensive or distracting.
Yeah.
But it added like a little something, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So nice.
That's fun.
So nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So my idea of the rat being the protagonist ended up staying because it took away the other characters. So
yeah,
I think,
and so anything can happen. I mean,
possible
add a little sword to his back.
Yeah,
who knows?
Or he gets into the head of a robot, and by moving the cables, he controls the robot.
Easy. Done.
Cook for him.
Okay, you got to collab with me. This is our story now.
Nice. Okay, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a bit baffled with this whole, like, this is so organic. Like, I thought, okay, we got the shapes. He's just gonna create adjustment layers, and we're gonna add things to the shapes. But no, we just keep adding layers on top. It's like, even though it's digital, it's quite close to this analog process of like, you do a brushstroke on top, and then another one on top, and then like, okay, I lost the pipes. I need to bring them back by adding more shadows, and then you lose them again, and then you add. It's like, it feels so like, in a very digital way, it feels like analog.
This is a fun sort of concept-y, Viz Debbie piece.
Yeah.
That I can like sort of refine or take away or do things to. But yeah, if this was a background like painting, I'd approach it like way, way differently.
Yeah, interesting.
Just because like the idea of it all being smushed together is just like chaos.
Yeah.
Like it just wouldn't work, So I
imagine how that would affect your decisions. Like,
also very true.
Yeah, because like there's a certain boldness that you have in just like, I'll just add this brushstroke here and then I just add that triangle there. That like, how would that affect your decisions? How would you keep that boldness with that kind of animation production? We need to prepare this background to send to the to follow this script with all the layers. They have to have these little stars so the script knows how to read it to send to the comp team.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
It would affect it a lot. But I think the difference is like most of the time I'm working with like an art director who's already like gone through this process. Like they've already established a lot of these rules. Like they kind of know that like they've done this painting and like they would give me this painting, for instance, and I would create a background based on this painting. So like all the thinking and all the
design decisions for
the design decisions are kind of done. So like I would draw a different view of this. And I would just be like color picking and tweaking and sort of like, I don't really have to have the exploratory sort of like fun path because it's they've already done it.
That's a very good point.
So it would be easier for me to do all the layers and like split up in that sense.
Yeah. Very good points. Wow. Amazing. Ollie, thank you so much for being like super flexible and super available to do this. I will tell you guys,
anytime,
we had a notice of one day. I was like, Ollie, you invited to the lyrics point. I was like, dude, I've been seeing the interviews. I'm so excited for this. I was like, can you do it tomorrow? And he was like, yes, even though, what's our difference? It's like 9 p.m. here, 9:11.
It's 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. So it's my midday.
Wow.
So like 8 or 9
Yeah.
hours.
Damn. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being so available. Tell us what's going on. Tell us, how can people find you? What are you up to at the moment? Tell us everything.
Yeah. Well, firstly, dude, thanks for having me. I really like the project is really cool. And it's like really, like you mentioned, you kind of imagine, like, because you do something a certain way, you're like, it's kind of cool to be like, oh no one really does it the same way. And it's kind of interesting to see how we all tackle these problems. Like, it's very similar problems,
Yeah,
but we all tackle them so differently.
definitely.
And then for me, Oliver Howe is my website, and Oliver G. Howe, Howe, is my Instagram. And at the moment, I'm in between jobs, so I'm slowly job hunting, whatever. But I'm also just sort of working on my personal projects, uploading, just trying to sort of like stay busy, learn all the sort of classic good, in between work jobs that someone can do.
Yeah.
So a lot of just trying to like upskill and get a bit better, sort of like, create some stories, which is like kind of fun.
Super nice. Honest, this episode, wow. I'm so excited to see the final edit of this. Wow. It's just the plot twist. Like, I really was not expecting it. Like, once again, this show really blew my mind. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for everything. Thank you to Ollie. Thank you for everyone that's watched this video so far. I hope you enjoyed this at least half as much as I did. I think it's going to be hard for you to enjoy this as much as I do, but half as much as I did. And yeah, have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.